Senshi. This is an abstract game published by Arcane Wonders. The theme allegedly, well, the players are martial arts students and they're trying to develop different qualities and they need to find balance in how they train in different things, yet they still had to excel in something. But as I said, in truth, this is a very abstract game. If there is a theme here to me, is a critique of min-maxing, as you will see. So, the main and most attractive components that you find here are these discs. There are four types of discs identified by the character on top of them and by the color. We have red, light blue, yellow, and green. And they look very nice, sturdy plastic, nice components. Although I have to say, sometimes the green and the blue, unless there is some strong light shining on them, if they're at the bottom of one of these stacks, they're not necessarily all that easy to tell apart. Maybe, you know, black instead of light blue would have created a better contrast. During setup, you shuffle all of these discs together and you form piles, stacks of 3 that you place in the middle of the play area in no particular order. Also, when you form these stacks, it should be kind of random without paying too much attention to what you're doing. Maybe the game came with a bag, it would be even easier to set up the game. I added my own bag, but it's not in standard dotation. There's another thing, another component that I wish had been included with the game, which is screens, little screens. There are some components that need to be hidden from the other players, and as the rulebook says, you simply hold them in your hand. It works, but, you know, it would just be more convenient if each player had their little screen behind which they store their discs. Each player has a card such as this one, where you will place up to 3 stacks that you take from the central play area, and then you have scoring stacks. These are the stacks that you will score at the end of the game. Basically, you take discs from here, you place them here, you place them in your hand, and then with specific actions you transfer them from here and or from your hand into these stacks that of course are by color. Here you put the strength, the red ones, here the agility, here the wisdom, and here the honor. Super simple. When it is your turn, you must take an action, and it has to be one of these 3 actions. So the card also gives you pretty much all of them. It works as a player aid and reminds you of all that you need to remember. Study. Your action may be take 1 stack. You take any 1 stack from the middle of the play area and you place it in one of your empty spots. If you already have a stack in all of your areas then on your card, then you simply cannot take that action. Train. You take 1 tile. When you take a tile, it can be from anywhere where it is visible, that is anywhere on top of a stack, with the exception of scoring piles. That is, when I take the action of simply taking 1 tile, it may be from top of one of my stacks and it goes in my hand. It may be from another player's stack. It may be from any of the stacks in the middle of the table. So that also means that sometimes when you take the action taking a stack, maybe the stack that you're taking doesn't have 3 anymore. So pretty much from anywhere where you can see the character from on top of any stack that you see, you can take a tile and add it to your hand. Pretty simple so far, right? Now, what happens here is, of course, the interesting thing is the last action, the 3rd action, which is to test. To test, you play 1 tile from your hand onto the corresponding pile in your scoring area. This is really when you're pretty much preparing to score. For example, I announce I am testing yellow. Or to say we are testing yellow, because other people can take actions too. When you're testing a certain color, you take the tile that you had in your hand and you place it there. Also, you take all tiles of that color from the top of your stacks and you place them there too. The interesting thing is that the other players can do the same. So if you're testing yellow, everybody can take yellow tiles from top of their stacks and place them there. Suppose that then the next time this other player is testing red, then they place that tile there, that tile there, and whether I'm the active player or not, well, the player is doing it, so I'm not the active player, I also score these. And then maybe later I wanna score this, so I'm freeing up one of these, and also right now my opponent doesn't get to score green. Thanks to that action, I freed a stack, and maybe now I want to take blue because something tells me that my opponent soon is going to test blue, and when the opponent tests blue, well, the opponent gets that nice stack, but at least I also get something. So pretty much the basic idea is try to optimize your actions by getting to train a lot, to move a lot of discs from your personal area to the scoring area with a single test action, while at the same time doing it when the opponent will not gain much from that, from freeloading. It's pretty much the game of the freeloader in that sense. You continue like this until all stacks have been removed from the central area. At that point, each player takes an extra turn, a last turn, including the player that took the last stack, and then you score. Now, this is the interesting idea. When you're scoring, the winner will be the player with the single highest stack. However, after we eliminate the player that has the lowest stack. Here there is a player that has 0, the player that has not 0, 0 is the shortest pile. This player is eliminated, so this player wins by default. If this had been the situation, this player would still lose because it has a stack of 1. But now this player has stacks of 2, this player also has stacks of 2, so when players tie for the lowest one, they don't get eliminated. In fact, if everybody ties for lowest, then everybody has a chance of winning. Once you eliminate the player or players with the lowest stack, unless everybody has the lowest stack, once you eliminate the player or players with the lowest stack, the winner is the player with the single tallest stack, and this would be the winner in this case. After I read the rulebook, I wasn't sure that I would enjoy Senshi. Just felt a little too simple, looked very dry, and yet it turned out to be very engaging, and the same was for my friends. They were looking a little skeptical as I was explaining the rules, and then after a game everybody was like hooked, everybody was like, why don't we play once more? Let's have one more game. And we got into that. I don't know for how long we played, just one more game. It really can get addictive because the rules are so simple, the strategy, the general concepts of the strategy are so simple. Try to maximize your actions, trying to ride on the actions of the opponent, take advantage of those. The general idea is so simple that you always feel like, I can just do it a little bit better. You always get the sense that just with a different move or two, you could have implemented the general strategy in a more effective way. So you play one more game, and of course the other players are doing the same. They also do a little bit better, and then you're like, okay, but next time I think I'm gonna do really, really good. And you continue playing and playing and playing. Once players know what you're doing, the game really lasts, I don't know, 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe even, and it's really engaging. It's almost like a bonsai game because you can see the structure of a game that seems to be, I don't know, more complex and more sophisticated, but it's also small and easy to handle. I'm really satisfied. I really enjoyed this game. Really fun. One thing which is a caveat for some groups and a big plus for other groups, this game is really confrontational. It's really cutthroaty. You will do things just to annoy other people. Well, you can do it just like that emotionally, but probably you want to do it also because that improves your position in the game or worsens theirs. And so you start taking out discs from other people's cards, which is really annoying when they do it to you, because what you want to do is, and you get a sense of what they will be scoring a lot, and so you take one of those discs, and so they don't get to score it anymore. You get to ruin the little nice sets. They had like 3 things lined up or 2 things of the same color lined up. Now they only have 1 color lined up, not nearly as profitable as it was. So so simple, so linear, so intuitive, with just one or two general concepts, but then a lot of subtleties about the timing and about the interaction and about what everybody else is doing. All of those things really make the game feel deeper and more engaging than I would have ever expected from a game that was pick up a pile or pick up a token or score a token. Around these ideas, there is a really fine game here. I like the components overall, with a couple of minor things that I mentioned in the video. In general, Senshi, I was really happy to play this game. I had a really good time, and this is definitely a game that I'm going to play again in the future, because with rules so simple, it is a game that I can play in a large variety of contexts with a large number of people, meaning 2 to 4 still, but the point is that from casual gamers to hardcore gamers, this is a game that has something for everybody.